Oof, that's
So
weird.
1 year ago today, we recorded the very first episode of the Not Safe for Wonks podcast.
It went awfully.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie. Should we get into that story now, or do you want to save that?
I-
we don't have a structure, so I mean we can just start with it. But it wasn't all like if you go back, like it wasn't good. But it also wasn't awful.
Yeah, it's not all good, but it's not all bad. A lot of people did listen to it, and like
It was our most listened episode for
continue to
months.
follow us, it was our most listened episode for a long time. I don't know, but yeah. So that was 1 year ago, and I think we kind of thought that we might do like 20 or 30 episodes and then reevaluate, maybe can it. Was like sort of the vibe that we all had at that time. Like we wanted to see it through enough to see what would happen, but we were kind of like, yeah, political podcast.
There's so many. The world doesn't need another podcast.
Lots of guys.
Yeah,
have
lots of
podcasts
guys have
these
podcasts
days.
these
Lots of
days.
guys have podcasts these days. And after 1 year of hard work and dedication and determination and believing in each other, the world still doesn't need another podcast. But it's got one, baby.
And now we have two.
We're here.
That's right.
Oh.
Leia probably like doing something with elbows and just knocked out the damn connection. Which is actually good because we can now see Tina Belcher twerking, which is really what it's all about.
That's right.
And Squidward.
Look at that.
Mm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we get rid of all of ourselves and show the background for a few seconds?
Yeah.
So that the people can...
Now you had a chance to appreciate the glory.
You got to taste it.
That's just beautiful. That's really what we're all fighting for. Is
This is the future that liberals want.
That is the future that liberals want. Anime, the Western animation becoming real. Anime will under further review.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we were definitely in kind of a different political headspace collectively when we started the show compared to now. Did you guys think? Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Maybe.
or, like, I think definitely been like some interesting changes in.
I mean, a lot has changed. Very much.
Yeah.
A lot has changed.
That's change.
A lot has changed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I think our strategy has changed a little bit. I think we've become a little bit more hardened and pissed off. When the show started, we're like, I mean, like literally, but you got to understand, if you were in the Marianne Discord for that 2-week period, that was literally like fucking Woodstock. Just like literally every weird hippie in the whole country felt like they were on this fucking Discord.
Yeah. Remember the woman with the bus?
Oh, you mean?
Yes.
We won't say her name, but
No, we won't say her name. She was problematic, but I just wanted to have. She was such a. We didn't record her.
I think she was the first guest that we ever considered having on.
Yes, she would have been our first guest.
I don't know if she was the very first, but I know when we were at the very beginning starting the show, we had this like short list of people that we wanted to try to collaborate with.
And then there was
and it
Bus
included
Lady.
like Bus Lady.
The Bus Lady.
Whose qualifications were living out of a bus.
She also had a
owning the bus.
You were here for this. This was
incredible. And a podcast. I mean, she sounded like a fairly fascinating person at the time. Of course, it turned out that she had some very problematic views that, there are certain hard limits that we draw in terms of who we collaborate with.
Yeah.
And gender critical, transphobic, blah, blah type of shit.
Yeah.
That's going to get you kicked out right away.
Yeah, can't do that.
Sucks.
But just to divorce from that in the same way that, like, I don't know, it's July 4th and all the black people are talking about Farrakhan and all of us are going, yeah, we know all the other stuff, but he did do a good speech. So to do that kind of deal, she was a good talker. and we were all excited, which goes back to our core point that it was a time of excitement, a time of possibility, a time of transcendentalism and true love, and now it's a time of being fucking pissed off at these police.
We thought that Marianne had at least some semblance of an actual chance. Like I don't know about y'all, but I genuinely thought that she had like the tiniest percentage of this working out.
I thought she had
a couple of election cycles for the utter absurdity and impossibility of trying to change things with elections before it like sinks in and you really accept it.
Well, here's the thing. So I thought that there was a chance that she would be the Andrew Yang of 2020, and that we would be in that kind of niche. And it's kind of good for us that her campaign didn't become that, because we would have kind of broken off. Like, we would have kind of broken off from that world anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
And it would have just been a little more awkward. Not that we don't like them. We have those people on the show all the time. They're all cool. But however, I think we have a big vision, and we want to have a platform and a style and a brand with the big vision.
And we talked about this very early on in the show. I forget who it was, but we tried to distance ourselves in our immediate branding from Marianne, so that if we needed to take that step away, then we could.
Yeah.
And that was very wise of us.
Yeah.
Because if we strapped ourselves to Marianne, then there would be nowhere to go.
However, on the other hand, it's worth noting that our association with the Marianne Williamson Twitter crowd is what brought Rebecca Parson to the show. And of course, Rebecca Parson coming on the show was like the sort of turning point when a lot of stuff changed for us.
Yeah.
Because like suddenly it was like we were sending these invites to people and we were like, hey, we had Rebecca Parson on the show. Do you want to come too?
And everyone was like, yeah.
Everyone's just like, yes. If Rebecca said yes, then I say yes too. And like, yeah.
Yeah. This is incredible.
It's been one whole year. We started with the actual literal OG3 is me, Kennedy, and Leia. But it feels like it's now anyone. The three of us are in a room. But Rin joined like immediately after, probably like before we finished 10 episodes.
We've told this story before, and it's really funny. So I always love telling it. And I posted in the Marianne Discord. Would anyone be willing to be our content slave? Oops, I mean editor. And then Ren was like, me.
Yeah,
me.
slavery sounds good.
And now this just happened.
And that's reparations.
And
the year of our Lord 2020, and we do not consent. This is a pro weird sex shit podcast.
Correct. And obviously, Rachel and I had been friends for the entire run of the show, and we were doing a separate show together. So we all formed a polycule. As time rolled on, we're bigger, stronger, and more powerful than ever. You love to see it.
Yeah, and so our 100th episode is coming out today.
Let's go.
In a couple of hours. It is really long. It is like
really long.
5 hours long. It is this unbelievable sort of roller coaster of just like
emotion.
We reached out to like basically everybody that we've ever had on as a guest that we liked.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, do you want to come celebrate our 100th episode with us? We'd love to have you just record a few minutes with us. And what ended up happening is like everyone said yes. Like everyone said yes.
Everyone.
It was wonderful. It was so wonderful.
Way more no's than we got.
Yeah,
we weren't expecting people to come back. Like once you've experienced us, you should be like,
never again.
Yeah. Like, okay, that was nice. But no, people were like really on deck, really on board.
Yeah. The chances are, if you have any guest at any point on the show that you have enjoyed, they're back. I'm sure.
Yeah. The only person I can think of that was a guest that we really liked that isn't on episode 100 is Semilise Lopez, who obviously great interview, friend of the show.
There are also some people. Lindsay Boylan is not on. Chris Armitage is not on.
Yeah.
A couple people didn't come through in time. That was just like scheduling thing where like we had to do it on a schedule. They have stuff that they have to do on schedules.
Yeah.
It's
not that we didn't like them. It's that it just didn't work.
Lindsay is literally contesting her election and shit right now.
Yeah.
And Chris is like trying to become a congressman, which would be cool.
And when we talk about our favorite people, obviously we're not excluding them. It's all we're trying to say. Like, we love people like that. But yeah, in general, we got a lot of really wonderful people. Howie Hawkins, swung by to hang out
we
with.
Love him. Our first real guest was Howie Hawkins. Our first guest and our first real guest.
Yeah. Well, actually, our first guest was Lau, I think, who just works on the show.
I think,
which is kind of why we're like, was Lau a guest? Because like we were just sort of low key trying to recruit him from the beginning. I think.
Yeah.
Because Lau is great.
And at the time, like he had originally he had like a lot of other projects going on, and then like a lot of those ended because like people's political campaigns ended and stuff like that. And you know how that goes. And, like so, as soon as Lau had like free time and was just like hanging around with us, we were like, hey,
and also like I say this pretty often, but Lau is extremely in the mold of our original vision for the show, which was a show about like spirituality. That was a show that embraced like weirdness.
It was
just kind of like this occult leftist positivity. And it's my hope that like we'll continue to like work on that and do more of it. Like it's not something we've abandoned, but just something we did a lot of in the early days. And so yeah, it's good every time Lau's on the show and talking about life. Lau's only been like our main guest for like 2 or 3 episodes, but I feel like those episodes are pretty close to when we fantasize about the message we want people to take away from like listening to the show. It's pretty much Lau shit. So yeah.
Well, I think like as you know the elections wind down, we're gonna have to sort of figure out what to do that isn't interviewing people running for office. And I think that we're gonna have a lot more space to do cool stuff like that. You know, we've been talking about doing some like sort of listen along movie watching kind of things like Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater or whatever, and just watching movies and talking shit. We've talked about, you know, bringing guided meditations back. Like there's so many fun things that I think we're going to have more bandwidth to do that everybody who's with us now can look forward to experiencing maybe for the first time if they started listening recently, or again, if they've been with us from the beginning.
Yeah, just the whole like election cycle thing kind of like wore us out to some extent because we were supporting all of these progressive down ballot candidates and trying to help them out and doing phone bank telethons and, you know, just like all kinds of shit. And now we're just gonna have time for some other content.
Let's get weird. America's only gonna last for 3 more months. Let's get weird with it.
We're also gonna be getting more like organizers and journalists, and like we already have some like things kind of in the works in this regard that would be really cool. And and like sitting politicians, bringing people like Mariah Parker back, you know, like just like that kind of shit. You know, just like getting like a lot of different voices to come on the show. And I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna do some cool content. I think we're planning some of it now. We're gonna be taking a little break. We're gonna take like 2 weeks off because we've literally been doing this more or less nonstop for a year.
Maybe,
And it won't be entirely off. Like we'll still do a few things.
Wait, Kennedy, you're doing stuff we should be talking about 40 minutes in. Big announcement. First of all, the hiatus thing is a big announcement, and you dropped it so casually.
It's
like,
casual.
Yeah, you're like a dad. Like, I'm going for cigarettes. I'll be back. See you guys in a couple months. And you're like, Dad, no, it's too late. We already decided this on the Discord. See you later, kid. But I do want to mention, just for posterity, Lau was our first guest. His episode was episode 11, How Can We Love in This World? And it is still an important episode to listen to now.
Really good.
From like just a spiritual perspective, how to stay sane through all this. Our second guest, thank you for your service. Longtime friend of the show, Circa Flynn, was our second guest.
Yep.
And Circa has
recorded inside a wind tunnel.
It recorded inside a wind tunnel. It sounds horrible. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Listen to her anyway. Yeah. But I guess like I didn't want to do this like so soon. But like
we'll talk more about it later. But I don't think it's not a big deal.
Okay, it's not a big deal. Listen, so after this episode 100 comes off, if you are like an OG fan of the show, you know like we have done like a rolling rebrand of the show, like throughout the year. Like we're always like tweaking our logo and our hat, our mottos and shit like that. So, well, first of all, the logo is going to stay the same. We're not changing the logo or colors or anything like that. But we may like add a coat of polish to make it look a little bit doper. We're working on a website that's going to be out ASAP. We're going to kind of tweak our presentation style. So basically, like, we're going to swing for the fences over this summer and like try really hard. Well, it's okay. I love you. And you know that whenever we're back, you will always have a place here. And I know that I'm your favorite host. And as your favorite host, it's good to always talk to you on these live streams. And the live streams will continue. So it's okay. You'll get to talk to me.
Yeah.
They won't be daily for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
But we'll probably do maybe 2 live streams a week while we're
that sounds like a good idea.
Just when we feel like it.
Just when we feel like it.
Just I will surprise you sometime. I'll come around when you're down. It'll be one of those deals.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do it. And you can like be happy when we make one. And part of that is the rebrand that we talked about, just a polish, and we're working on a website. And we also just like worked very hard. We had like during the heat of this shit when Bernie Sanders was running, we were doing 3 episodes a week. Do y'all know how wild that is to have 3 episodes a week of a podcast? We work just incredibly hard, and we just want to like step back, take a breath, think about our principles, and just
then do 100 more episodes.
Do 100 more of these bitches. That's right.
I mean, we are like live streaming for an hour a day now, 5 days a week. Like, we can't act like we are doing less, really.
No, we're doing more.
And more.
Yeah, we are working even harder. So, yeah, we just want to like it might be longer than 2 weeks. We might get to the end of 2 weeks and be like, you know, whenever you're doing something really hard and you stop doing it for a little while, you notice your increase in free time. Like Rachel, you like went to school and got an education. So when you got your shit and you finished it all, like, did you ever like what a waste of time all that other shit was? I have free time now. I feel like a human.
No, but what I will say is I have shared custody of my daughter with my baby daddy, and she goes to his place 2 weeks and then my place 2 weeks. And there is a really stark difference in the number of hours in my day when I do and do not have my kid here to take care of. So like, there's that.
And all of you, all of you, because we're elite posters. Like this is like SEAL Team 6
high level
posting. So all of you are kind of like our children. We really take care of you.
Actually, like needy, demand my attention, want me to tell them that they're cool.
Yeah.
Continually asking me to make them macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. They don't give you any money. Has Ellie paid you for your services at all?
Yeah, actually. Yeah. I have started like it doesn't work as well if I'm asking for money for myself to eat. But when I am asking for money to like help other people, I can raise it pretty fast now. And a huge part of that is just because there's like a community around me that
Wait, Rachel, I said from Ellie.
Yeah, well, no, and we're talking about the relationship between my child and, like, the fans. And the fans actually are better to me than my child in that capacity.
Oh, all right.
Amazing.
Way to go, fans. That's a good point. You totally redirected me because I was going to be like, you fans, get it together. So, yeah. All right. Fans, you get to win this tonight. That's fine.
I am very grateful for how quickly I can raise money for other people. And also, I'm just putting this out there. Like, I do it does cost money for me to be alive, and it would be cool if I didn't have to like choose between the podcast and having time to like work.
Right.
And money.
And part of that is why we're taking the money. Like, we feel like we're popular, like people who see us like us, but we don't really ask for the money. Like, we do like we're at Patreon, you know, but we don't like set up things that are fun for people to participate in that also involve, like, you know, we're not going to become like a fucking greedy piece of shit podcast that's like overly commercialized or anything. But we just want to be good at business, obviously.
Yeah.
So we're
right.
We're going to talk about that kind
The
of shit.
prices and values.
All right. So I wanna go through starting with Leia, and I wanna ask everybody to like sort of think about a funny story that involves recording this show or making this show in any capacity, or something quirky or weird that you remember. And like, we're all gonna share a quirky recording story.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Okay.
You got something, Leia?
I got something good. I think it's been long enough that we have clearance to like discuss this, and it won't be bad.
I know where you're about to go.
Oh no, we all know.
Go there.
Oz.
For episode 100. Let's just do it. It's been a whole year.
It's been so long. So there are many people who run for president that do not get any sort of recognition whatsoever. These are people like high school football coaches who file to run for president under the Democratic nomination and do not even get like a joke media about them. There's hundreds of these people every single year, every single cycle. And we thought, hey, wouldn't it be funny and interesting if we reached out to one of these people, because our podcast then and still now, I would like to think, is about uplifting unheard political voices. So we
also, let me interject for just 1 second. Because there's a funny detail to this story, which is that it was hard to get one of these people because they are like bizarre and sketchy, and a lot of them don't have valid contact info and shit. And so it was hard to even like find one of these like weirdo, like semi-joking presidential candidates that we could like get on the phone.
Yeah. And so there was one guy named Bill Haas, Haas. And
we naming and shaming tonight, boy.
That's right.
And he
hey,
was
Bill
running.
Haas, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, seriously. He was running for the Democratic nomination. And we looked at him, and he was just weird and off the wall. I think in his on his campaign website, he said, "My most important issue when I'm running for president is third grade reading scores." I think I remember that pretty well.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. He also quoted Eminem a couple of times, and
that was part of why we found him intriguing enough to put on the show. Because we were a weird left-wing podcast, emphasis on weird. We still are, but you know, that was like our fucking thing. So Bill Haas was not really left-wing, but extremely weird. So we're like,
it's just bonkers. We wanted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a harmless weirdness, is what it was like.
That's what we originally thought.
On first glance, and to be clear, when I say glance, I mean like, I literally spent like 15 minutes looking at this guy's website at least before I reached out to, like, more than that even, and I posted it to you guys, and y'all looked at it for like a few minutes, and like we all like kind of looked at his shit for like, you know, a good like 20 minutes or more before we were like, oh, he's probably okay.
I mean,
because what had happened was they had looked solely at his website. So, and that had like the platform and like some blog entries, I think. But he had also started talking about like he wanted to pay us. So, is there a
come on the show, by the way, just to be like clear?
No, not to be on the show.
We would manage his social media.
Would you also do some campaign services for my campaign? Basically, we were like, maybe.
And
he was like offering real money, so we were like,
yeah, I think he was offering like $200 a week plus a cut of ad spend, which is like less than a professional rate. But also, if it's free money, yeah, sure. Especially because
we could just grift him
Yeah. I mean, grift, yes, but also like you give me some money, I'll make your ads. I'll spend it. Okay, sure. Right. So we're using the word grift in a value neutral sense, was what I'm saying. But so we were thinking about it, especially because it's a new show and we've got like new show expenses. We're thinking of getting this service or that one. So it became like, well, this could cover all of our overhead, and we could give our editing person like the rest. So sure. I was looking into it, and I'm also new to the podcast world, and I'm thinking like, are we going to get canceled? Let me look this person up. Let me tell you, world, we would have been canceled. Wow, it's just like it was a incredibly creepy and gross Twitter. Like
his official campaign Twitter was constantly like horny posting for other women.
For all the other women candidates. Yeah,
it was bizarre.
That's fucking gross.
No,
it gets better. It gets better.
It was like Stefan Molyneux level shit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it was
worse.
Really...
It was worse, but
okay.
He also like admitted to being a pedophile, like right there on his Twitter.
What?
That is I don't want to, because that could be legally actionable. I want to like.
Okay, fine. He admitted to like dating an 18-year-old when he was 44. I won't say the P word. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Does that make you happy?
Yes, that does make me.
A febophile.
He liked them young, uncomfortably young.
Definitely a lot of questionable stuff. Let's just say that much. Draw your own conclusions.
Right.
A man who is over the age of like 25 and willing to date an 18-year-old is a fucking psychopath.
When I was,
for the record, anything that Ren says doesn't count. We can't be canceled for anything that Ren says because they're our editor, and it's we're not responsible for production staff. Production staff are completely unpredictable.
Talent and production are on different contracts.
We're not even on good terms,
Ren is an independent contractor.
We contracted out to a payroll company.
But anyway, when I was like 25, I thought the people who were like, if you're 25, you're dating an 18-year-old, something's wrong with you. I always thought like, this is a weird ass take. These people are just shaming these older men for liking normal human beings. And 18 is a great age, and you're fully aware of it. And now I'm like 30, and I'm like, opinion change.
Yeah, like it's so hard to convince very young people of how young they are.
Yeah.
And I know this because I was very young people doing these things, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. When I say this dude's a creep, it's from firsthand experience.
Right.
But like, it doesn't, I think there's some lessons you have to just learn by experience.
Yeah. I don't think that I can, I'm sure that there's somebody that's of my age, like 10 to 15 years ago, that's looking at me like I'm a sex negative, shaming weirdo that's too into this shit. Okay, that's fine. But like now at my age, if I'm talking to like an 18-year-old, 99 point, let's say 100%, because I can't really think of a real exception. I don't have anything in common with a 19-year-old. We have there's nothing to talk about. What are you?
Completely different life stages.
Yeah, I mean, I sit here and I talk to Leia all the time. So
but Leia literally listens to old Union hymns. She's
all right, fine. I'll put it down to 99. But it's very rare that you run into a 19-year-old that's writing essays about Enron during 9/11 and their relationship with the California state government.
I have to say, one of my hottest takes that I have, period, is that the age of consent should be 23.
That's a blazing take.
I actually agree with you on that one, though. I think the age of majority at 23 makes a lot more sense than 18.
My hottest take is that men can't be feminists and should not identify that way. What's everyone else?
I would say, yeah, of course men can be feminists and like rebut you here, but the truth is every single man I've ever met who was a self-identified feminist wasn't.
Down. Yeah.
Anybody that calls themselves, any male that calls themselves a feminist, I am intensely suspicious of any man that calls themselves a feminist. Which I don't want to get into.
Feminist in their dating bio. Fuck off. I don't trust you at all. Like, feminist is one of those things you don't like need to tell people you are. It just comes across in your action. And if you have to tell people, that means you aren't.
No, I mean white people have anti-racist in their bio all the time. Those people, but they're not. But like when I think of like white people that claim to be like, I think of Warren libs. And they're totally different, whatever.
I don't know. I think those people tend to still be pretty racist.
Put it like this: if you're a white person with anti-racist in your bio, you're either extremely bad or extremely good. It's like, like if you see a white person with a whole bunch of tattoos, they're either in the Klan or they're extremely into Antifa, and it's the other. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't want to dig into that because people don't give a shit. But like, men bad. Oppressive class. Don't use that label. But anyway, let's move on.
Brandon's one of the good ones.
No, I'm not. Don't say that. Move on. I'm bad. We're all bad.
I want more blazing cake.
No, resist. Okay, move on.
I have a blazing take.
Oh, yes, Rachel, what's your most blazing hot take?
My most blazing hot take is that I like cheese nips better than Cheez-Its.
That's disgusting. You're
canceled.
So, Leia, what's your blazing hot take?
Millennials kind of actually suck.
Censorship. I have the First Amendment right.
What was Leia's hot take? I missed it.
Millennials actually kind of suck.
No, we don't.
I don't think it's a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take.
That's not it's not a hot take. Ask a millennial.
Like every
die.
This has been like the big meme on Twitter for like months now. Like, actually, millennials kind of suck, and it's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, a lot of the people my age do suck, so whatever.
We deserve that. Absolutely.
Yeah, like,
I don't know. I was trying to plumb for a take.
Oh yeah, the take is we do. We deserve it.
There are a lot more progressive lib millennials than leftists, and progressive libs do suck. So.
Yeah.
This is a nice shirt. That's another hot take. I look cooler in this tight shirt. I'm gonna get a more outfit.
I should wear ties more often. This looks like, look at this.
Right.
Red, what's your hottest political take?
My hottest political take: men should not exist.
That's a good take. All right, actually, okay. So this is more my background. All of my gender stuff, because like I reached an age where I wanted to gain a knowledge of gender studies and shit. But obviously I wasn't gonna go to like a school for it like a dork. So all of this was like book/posting over like a 6-month period that I was like into gender relationships. So all of this shit that I ended up reading, because of the way that I looked for this information, was like the meanest rad fem shit online. So maybe I just have that internalized of just like the internet's most genuinely awful rad fems, and most of them are like transphobic now. I don't want to get into all that, but I feel like that was a lot of my formative study.
I joke a lot about doing misandry, and like there's an extent to which that's true. Like I, at this point, default to assuming men are going to be shitty to me, and if they aren't, then like I notice them, But I think for that specific generation of feminists, like the 85 through 95 feminists, we were really fucking traumatized, like in ways that are difficult to like fully articulate to another person. And I think that
is J.K. Rowling in that generation?
Huh?
Is J.K. Rowling in that generation?
No, she's older and she's terrible. But like I'm talking about like feminist
Gen X, right?
Like
yeah, she's Gen X, I think.
Yeah.
Gen X is a bastard generation that should not exist.
That's my hotter take: is that Gen X should not exist.
When this is
They're just-
all the
they're
left
just
wing
younger
people, they're
boomers.
always
Gen X do not deserve rights.
That's not a hot take at all. I had that take like 15 years ago in high school.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 15 years ago I was
It's-
6, so I couldn't have had that take.
It's
So
not
let's
a-
move on.
It's not a real generation. They don't
We're
exist.
doing generational warfare.
My father is a boomer, and that's that. He's not Gen X. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I don't recognize it.
Gen X, I don't know her.
Yes. Yes.
I
You
was
love to
dead.
see it.
I in fact was dead.
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
yeah.
We didn't finish the story.
Oh yeah, stories.
Bill Haas.
Bill
Talk
Haas.
about-
We didn't
Okay,
finish
where-
the
where
Bill
were we?
Haas story.
So we found this really, really weird Twitter.
Right, and then I said the
And
thing that
we
I
had
said.
to- wait, you didn't say anything because I was the next up because I found it. So I
Yeah,
took it.
Brandon
No,
was
I
who-
said the thing about Bill Haas that I
Oh.
said.
Yeah.
Now let's
Yeah.
move on.
So I found all this on Bill's Twitter, and I, with a heavy heart, I took it back because we were thinking, let's just get this weird, quirky man's money, and we'll not like a scam, but we'll do whatever, and we'll get the money and move on. But the Twitter was too bad, like
Really
we
bad.
could have gotten obliterated.
Really
And
bad.
also, like, part of the talk was like we couldn't do it in good conscience either. Like, even with the mob, forget the mob. Even if there wasn't a mob, we were like, yeah, can't work for this person.
I mean, at that time, nobody listened to the show, so like we weren't thinking even.
Right, we
as
weren't really
much
gonna
about,
get.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
we
we're gonna
got
get canceled. That's just like we can't do this. This
just-
sucks.
can't do it. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It sucks. Was like basically but we sent him the nicest rejection email.
Yes.
Like we were very courteous. We were just like, hey, we think for us and you, this would
Because
be
we're gonna
good.
interview you. So now we've done Oppo research on what a weirdo you are.
We're gonna
So like
thunder
now,
dunk. Yeah.
we have to dunk on you now, or else like we're not interviewing because now we're a scam if we're not
Yeah.
talking about this shit.
We're journalists, or we were trying to be, so we had to do that.
Yeah, like, and literally, we would have just thunder dunked this guy for an hour, and he came back at us like, "No, we should do it. It's okay if you have some hard questions or whatever." And we're like, "This wouldn't be hard questions, dude. Like,
No.
you don't understand."
We're trying to like it really shows what great people we are because we could have brought this dude on and fucking broke his back like a twig and just we could have just fucking obliterated this dude easy peasy. But he came to us, right? So we're like, just for your own safety, don't worry about it, man.
We would be forced to correct you. I wasn't around for this though, so
I
Then
would have gotten you on the interview just to correct him.
that's
lost his mind. at
It was
that point,
crazy.
though.
I was there.
Like, yeah, like
he called Ren's phone. A
No,
number
he
of
called Kennedy.
Kennedy.
me several times, and I blocked his number, and then he started calling me from another number, and I had to block a second number.
And he left hilarious fucking voicemails. Like these voicemails were
Voicemails.
so
I'm pretty sure I
funny.
still have them.
I
Oh
hope
my
we still have
God.
those recordings because we listened to these voicemails together, recorded it, and we were
Yeah.
like, maybe we'll release this someday.
We might still release the voicemails.
I mean, it's been a year almost. I think we probably could.
We're not
me and I
interfering with the
feel
campaign
like-
anymore.
And recording state, so you're fucked, Bill Haas. Sorry. Yeah, it was just like a weird time, and then our Discord server got raided for the very first time
got
Yeah.
rated by Bill Haas stands.
by Bill Haas. And
Holy shit!
That's
Yeah,
so
literally.
he's
It
like
was
a middle school
insane.
teacher, and like his middle school students had this like weird ironic fan club surrounding his presidency, and they were excited that he was going to come on our show. And when we canceled him, they got very upset. And so at this time, we had like basically the only people on the Discord were like people like Reed and like
Some of the Marianne fans came with us.
Like people that are just like friends of Leia that have just been hanging around forever that are like chill and whatever, like no offense to them or anything. I'm not trying to make them sound bad. I'm just trying to say like they were just people just hanging around. There was like nobody there. There was no conversation. Like we talked like once a week about some news article with like the handful of like people that were our friends that hung out there, and that was it. And we recorded there, and that was it. And so we're being rated, and it's like there's more people rating us than we have here. Like,
well, what happened first was, like after, like you blocked his phone number, then you gave me the number, and I called him. And I screamed at him for like a solid 2 minutes, and then he like he subtweeted me, because he didn't know my app, but he was like posting about me and you, Kennedy, and I was like,
here we go.
And then the like one of the 7-year-olds who like joined the server started DMing me to like try and smooth over the situation, but like he was pretending to be a girl so that like he could gain my trust or whatever. And I was like, I don't know what's happening here. But then like he gave me an invite to the Bill Haas Stan Discord, which that's such a funny phrase. But then I joined it, and I like looked through it, and I saw that they had been like harassing me privately, like in their Discord for weeks, or not weeks, like the past few days. I don't know. And then and like just tweeting about me, and then like I got a couple of screenshots, and I came back, and I was like, guys, look what I found.
And we were yelling at you all this time because we were trying to get faster updates. So I was just blowing your shit up. What's going on? What's going on?
What's the mic in there?
I was like, calm down. Just let me do it.
This is content. So,
yeah. It was so surreal, honestly.
Yeah, it was so fucking weird. So bizarre.
And I don't really know. Bill Haas, you can never come on the show.
No.
But if one of the Bill Haas kids wants to get an interview.
Oh, that's dope. That's a good idea.
We would love to ask you about your 3rd grade reading score.
Right. Was your 3rd grade reading score super good, or was it not?
Are you the problem child that led Bill Haas to run for president with this specific platform?
Yeah.
Are you the one who fucked up in the 3rd grade?
Yeah. Oh, God. Brandon, do you have any crazy stories?
We have so many, we have so much weird shit that has happened on this show over the last year. What's the weirdest guest, or no, not guest, but just episode recording situation? These aren't like super weird things, but just the chase to get Lindsay Boylan was kind of a funny issue, because like we couldn't really get her, and we really wanted to have her on the show, and we were like emailing the team, and everybody was enthusiastic on both sides, but Lindsay Boylan was just too busy. So like we would get here and we would all get scheduled together, and then she just wouldn't show up. And then they send us a message like 15 minutes later, like, oh, we're really sorry, she's busy. Can we do this another time? We're like, okay, let's do this like in 3 or 4 days. Did we do it? I think she like slid out on us like 3 times before we got her, which coincidentally also happened during episode 100. But it's literally the primaries happening, so that doesn't count. But yeah, just the Lindsay Boylan affair was like one of the biggest episodes in our show, I think. That's it. I can think of some other shit, but come back.
Yeah. Let's Kennedy? Rachel, do you have any funny stories that you want to tell?
Yeah, what are some funny stories?
Gosh, let me think. Because I started, what episode did I start on? I feel like it was close to 50.
Your first episode was Conspiracy Theories with Circa, and that was episode 34.
Okay,
yeah. It became an official like host. I'm actually going through our ography right now. I'll be able to tell you. But
Ography.
yeah, because Adam's in one episode of the show.
It was Rachel's first official ep was
the one with Circa, but as a host.
No. Like as a host was with Melanie DeRigo.
Okay, I remember that one.
Oh, I remember that because you said it
You
during
had
episode
started,
100.
hang around and record with us a little bit before that, but that was like the first time that you like did a full episode, did like interview prep with us, like we're like just like fully involved in like the process, and we were also like treating you like, yes, this is our third host for this episode, Rachel. You know, like we weren't like, oh, she's a friend of the show, she's a guest or something,
right?
You know,
and we immediately started getting good interviews.
Yeah.
No, but actually what happened is I think Wayne was like your first get as a guest.
Yeah. And I mean, I've known him for an extremely long time. I've known him since I was like 18 or 19. Like, because I was a like Cracked fan when I was in college, and I was like, oh my gosh, Wayne Gladstone accepted my friend request. This is so cool. And now I'm just like, yeah, it's Wayne.
Get it together, Wayne. Moving on. Get it together.
Yeah, he's kind of canceled.
Therapist. Clean your life up.
We've had a couple of guests be canceled now. It's the thing that has happened. Like, it's not we knew it was somewhat unavoidable.
Yes.
It was still surprising because like we felt like we were kind of a small show, and like, who's gonna get canceled that's coming on our show? You know what I mean? But
and actually, it kind of shows where our line is, because we had Justin on the show, and Justin had already been canceled, and we were like not trying to. People like who are like listening to this think that we are like SJWs or whatever, and like kind of, but not really. Like Justin had just been canceled the month before for like wishing that Barack Obama got cancer. Like just saying, you know, people are dying of cancer all around the world, and if he got it, then he would learn what it's like. And everybody was like, "That's terrible, Justin."
Right.
And rightly, I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels. I don't wish cancer on anybody. Whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Kissinger.
We were in the episode too that we were not condoning his views. Like we wanted to have a conversation with him to kind of like.
Yeah.
Sort of like ask him some things about himself, to like sort of press him on some issues, also give him some space to speak. And like we kind of held him a little bit accountable, but we were also relatively friendly. It was like, you know, we weren't trying to be like dicks to him or anything, but we were kind of like, you know, how do you defend these views, and kind of like, you know, got into that stuff a little bit. And like
it's kind of, it reminds me of the interview that Bill Haas wanted us to give him. But
it was kind of like that. Yeah, it was like we were kind of like we won't just like drag your ass the whole time, but we will kind of like ask you some tough questions about these controversial things that you've said, kind of thing. And it was like, it was okay and whatever. So like the day after the episode comes out, it turns out he did a big time anti-Semitism. Like not just like an edgy, I hope a politician dies kind of like humor that you would see anywhere on Chapo, but like something
really
like,
bad,
really bad and anti-Semitic. And
like,
we're like, oh god,
yeah. Which it was funny because we literally spent a month debating on having Justin on.
Oh god, you know, it was now this is me having stupid cavalier podcast brain.
Yeah, but Leo was
yeah, I want to tell the story. I first saw this guy and I was like, oh man, we have to have him on. This would be so funny. And I asked the question in the Discord, should we have this guy on, yes or no? And then I didn't wait for an answer to that question and DM'd him anyways.
And of course, Justin was looking for a friend. I mean, he was going through a hard time.
Yeah.
So, you know, anybody that, if you're getting canceled and somebody, which is, by the way, why so many people become right wing. If you're getting canceled and there's people that are giving you a hug, if somebody's giving you a hug and you're having a hard day, you hug them back, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, Leo was like, "Come on our show," and of course, like Justin was like, "I love you guys. Let's do it. Let's hang out." So
Right.
we held Justin off a little bit just because we
Needed to
not
deliberate.
not necessarily wanted to cancel him, but it was like, maybe we should let this take a breath a little bit before we bring them on.
Also, I mean, like there was like a little bit of debate internally about do we do this or not,
Yeah.
and ultimately, like, you know, the lesson that we learned is in the future the answer is no. You know, like we kind of at the time we wanted to like push the boundaries in terms of having like maybe slightly more challenging content in certain kinds of ways, and
Yeah.
we thought this is an easy introduction to that. It's just like holding some edgy leftist humor slightly accountable and seeing what happens with that conversation.
He wasn't joking, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, though. Just
Yeah.
Chapo, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and like it.
And then it didn't go well at all.
No.
So hey, I wanna, since we're talking about let's play boundaries. Let's play boundaries for a second.
Okay.
Tulsi Gabbard, would you have Tulsi on the show?
No, actually, I say this because I know for a fact I don't actually respect her enough to like do a professional job of interviewing her. Frankly,
What?
I
will go.
I have a different take.
Okay.
I also say no, but for a completely different reason. I think that
Why?
I could handle like interviewing Tulsi and like maybe get something out of it in terms of like, you know, kind of like
Right.
trying to push on
Yeah.
her on some interesting topics and see what she says. And I don't know, like she certainly gives interesting takes, right? Like, so I don't know, it might be okay. But the reason I say no is because we sort of had this informal, like half joke rule that we banned Tulsi Gabbard as a topic because every time we would start talking about her in an episode, we get super derailed.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
having Tulsi on is just
It's a walking version of that. It would just derail.
it's a
not just
recipe for
episodes, but the whole show.
to derail the whole
man.
show.
The
We'd be
Tulsi
talking about it
stands
every
will come
episode.
in. Yeah, the Tulsi stands will come in. The Tulsi anti-stands will come in, and then it's a whole different. I would also say no for a third reason, because the fact that she's problematic, I don't mind that, and the show getting derailed is okay. But like, I know too many Muslims that would physically fight me, so it's like, don't want to do it. Don't want to get attacked. So
I feel like it is a reasonable boundary to say anybody that has like ties to genocide and bigotry, just we don't need to talk to them or platform their opinion.
Yeah, anyone that was on the same show that Steve Bannon was on.
okay, Steve. All right, then Steve Bannon. No,
No,
wouldn't have Bannon on the show. Okay.
no, you got to pick someone that's more borderline.
Tom Stair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom Stair.
this is a good story while we're telling podcast stories.
Sure.
I sent Tom Stair the craziest invite that I've ever sent anyone for the show. And it basically, the gist of it was like, come on the show to get roughed up by leftists, you bastard.
Yeah, it was a very passive aggressive. Like, I don't. If you're not steeped in our humor style, I think it would read very passive aggressive. Like it was like, we're not gonna kill you, but we're gonna wrestle a little bit, and you'll be able to show that you've got some street cred and can survive us whipping your ass.
Like, really, to be more specific about like what I had said in this email, I was like, a lot of people on the left are slightly curious about you, in terms of like 2020 candidates, but it seems like you have a lot to prove in terms of like your history and things like that. And I just kind of like, I was just kind of honest about the fact that if we had him on the show, we'd probably ask him like pretty hard questions, you know? And he never got back to us. But I would still, Tom
can come on.
I'm that offer is still open. You can come on the show. We'll ask you hard questions. We won't be complete dicks. At the end of the day, we'll probably end it like, you know what? Let's hang out sometime or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, but I'm just saying that because we're gonna grift you for your money, obviously.
Wow. Tom won't come on now because if there's any insecurity that you have at that level of wealth, it's like, am I being grifted? And it probably underlines all of your human relationships.
I thought Tom wanted to be grifted by like progressive causes. That seems to be like his new mode.
You are right. He did let Juvenile grift him, and he also has Next Gen, and they are like it's kind of a it's grifty. So I don't know. Maybe he's probably okay with like little grift. Don't like little grift. Fine. What are some? Will we all have Joe Rogan on the show?
Oh, that's a good question. That's actually a great question. Oh,
Yeah.
I think it would be funny. One of the things that I've said before is that I want to kidnap Joe Rogan and put him in my basement and give him as much weed as he wants.
And like
Every few hours, I would pop into the basement and ask him what's on his mind. I want his thoughts. His
Wow.
brain. And then he wouldn't be able to harm anyone in his weed basement. It would be nice.
You know, when we talk about having productive conversations with people across the aisle too, like Joe Rogan is somebody that like can be reasoned with by like progressive voices and has shown this many times.
Joe Rogan is someone
So,
that
like,
agrees with whoever he has on.
If I'm gonna like consider having somebody who's like relatively conservative on the show, I would want them to at least be willing to like hear me out, I guess. And Joe Rogan would do that. So maybe.
Okay, so you might have Joe Rogan on the show, but would you go on his show?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
mega clout. Obviously,
Yeah,
I'd go on
I
Joe
think
Rogan's
just
show.
will take over, and we'd be like, it's
Maybe
Joe
if
Rogan.
I had a network cable TV show, I'd be like, no. But like right now, of course, if Joe reached out to our show and was like, let's have some Not Safe for Long.
Yeah,
Come
y'all
on,
can call me whatever. Yeah, I'd go on. Yeah.
We do it. Come on, let's be real.
Bill Maher.
No.
Nope.
Laying
Nope.
He just
no,
sucks. Like
Yeah,
he doesn't seem like he would even be fun to talk to.
Yeah. At least Joe Rogan and I would be like smoking a blunt and laughing and like talking about something interesting. But Bill Maher would just be like a stuck-up dick the whole time, and I would just end up punching him in the face, I think.
Just kick the door down. Like, I hate Jesus and people under the age of 40. Like,
Yeah. I will be the one. Well, there's no question of platforming here, so I'd probably go on Bill Maher. I used to watch him a lot as a kid. I feel like I've outgrown all of that, but I'd probably
go on. His show is different than having him on our show, though.
Yeah.
there are a lot of people I would go on their show just to embarrass them on their own show. Like,
Yeah, if
Yes, that
someone
would be
invites
funny.
me onto their show, I'm gonna be pretty tempted to say yes, no matter what it is, even if it's like a
Yeah.
really out
I
there
want
show.
to be invited somewhere. I
Because
want
if
to
you're
be wanted.
bringing me on your show, I can come give my takes, and I don't have to like. There's no like when you're the host of something. There's like a decorum. There's like a way that you need to behave to like not like have a bad rep in terms of just like being a dick to people or something. You know what I mean? And like.
Yeah.
If I bring someone on my show, it's like, am I platforming them? How do I handle them? How do I hold them accountable without just being a complete asshole? But if I go on somebody else's show, I could just give my fiery takes and be argumentative as shit, and it's fine. So I would maybe go on the Bill Maher show and just dunk his ass for like he's had guests that have done this before that have just dunked his ass for like 30 minutes, and like the show wraps with them still trying to dunk each other. Like that would be me on the Bill Maher show.
Mitt Romney.
That's a tough one.
No.
I'm
Why
not
would I have Mitt Romney on?
I'm leaning towards no, just because it's not content. Like I don't feel like
it's just
He's
that,
too much of
that
a
would
shithead. He's too much.
that would not be good. That would not be
It wouldn't
interesting.
really be worth it.
I don't want to talk to neo
think
Rockefeller
there's a-
Republicans. I don't want to talk to.
I do feel like I would probably like ask him about eating like boiled chicken every day and whatever his dietary habits are. That's just a weird topic that's so weird. I feel like it didn't get covered enough.
I would have Mitt Romney on if he's willing to talk about exactly one subject, which is his distant Mormon family members who have the compound in Mexico. If he's willing to talk about that, then yes. But that's it. You have to be willing to divulge all on that subject, on your weird fucking Mormon cousins with the compound.
This is similar. George W. Bush.
No. No way.
I don't think I'd be able to maintain myself.
I think the first words out of my mouth would be like, "So how did it feel to get away with fucking war crimes?" And then it would just go downhill from there.
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
Yeah, there are only a handful of people.
I would literally bring him on the show just to be like, hey, George W. Bush, welcome to the show. Fuck you. And then I would end the recording and kick him out.
Yeah.
And like, that would be the.
Yeah, George W. Bush being one of history's greatest monsters, I don't think I could.
Yeah. And
I think I would embarrass the show if I were to just like.
It's like having Mussolini on the show. Not going to do it.
Okay. Milo Yiannopoulos.
No.
yeah, I would have him on because he would be fun to do.
No.
We don't have I don't think platform.
Here's the thing: is if we got him, I would recruit John to destroy him, and it would be an amazing episode.
Sure.
I hate that guy. No way.
Ren Milo, no.
No,
There's-
definitely not.
Yeah. I feel like we've kind of. I mean, Tucker Carlson, no, or yes.
Same answer.
Yell at him, dunk. Okay.
Any of those people, I would just tap John and give him the best day of his life. Like, John would literally piss himself if he had the opportunity to make them look like idiots on air.
Neera Tanden, obviously yes, right or no?
I find
No.
her more annoying than I want to talk to.
No, I would not. That would not be worth it. That would not be
Ren,
worth it.
Ren, Neera Tanden, would you have her on the show?
I don't know. Probably not.
Go ahead. You seem like you're about to warm up to something.
Former Libertarian presidential nominee Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's obvious. Yeah, obviously.
All
We had
right.
Herman Supreme on. Like, why not Gary Johnson? Yeah. California Senator Kamala Harris.
Yes.
I'm trying to get good ones. This is a good one, right?
That's a good one.
Because the
That's
question
actually
is
really
she
good. That's a
too
good one.
boring? to have on?
Maybe, yeah, she might. Be a little
She
bit
promises that she'll have. Wait, she's going to be like.
No.
She's going to drink a little bit, like when she was at the debate and she was clearly drunk, and it wasn't on the news. Although, like a grown woman that holds a national office was fucking wasted during a national debate, and nobody the media's fucked up, man. The media's fucked up. Kamala did a debate, fucking drunk off her ass, and nobody. But anyway.
I mean, like we've already said that we wouldn't bring people on just to dunk on them, so we would have to find something with Kamala.
But here's the
That,
thing.
like we need to find something to talk about for an hour that's positive or even neutral, and you can't
cops
really
on the
do that.
show.
Yes, we
No
could.
cops on the show.
That's a good point too.
Janos is going to be on the show, man.
Yeah, but he's
He doesn't
Not the
count.
same thing as a
It
cop.
doesn't count.
Once he wins, okay, Janos doesn't count.
You know, so Janos is probably, since we're like reminiscing, that was the first episode where I felt like at home on the cast.
Yeah.
Was where I was like, okay, this is like, I am a full member of this team. Because we
That's
were
right.
talking prison abolition and he just rolled with it. I was just like, oh, hell yes.
Yep.
And it
In
was-
fact, if
this
you
is-
remember, I actually told you, oh, don't try to corner him like that because like we don't know whether he's gonna like keep it real like that in public. But he went real with it. I was like, there you go. This is actually great.
Yeah. There you go.
Love it. Love Janos. So yeah, I feel like we could talk about Trump being bad for an hour with Kamala Harris and it'll probably be fine.
No.
That's so
No
fucking
cops.
boring.
It's
No
boring.
cops.
Hey, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump because it's boring.
We've talked about Tucker. We talked about Howard Stern. Would we have Howard Stern on?
No.
He's really gross.
No.
Yeah, just really gross.
This is
He's
gross.
just really gross. He would like probably hit on me and make me uncomfortable, and I don't really want to deal with that.
Trying to think of some. Oh, Kanye West.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You mean my president, Kanye West?
No, no.
Nothing but respect for my president.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, yeah. First of all, Kanye is actually. Now I think about it. Of course, he's Kanye West. I don't know where that interview would go, but
Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones where I would not even hold him accountable for the record. for anything. I would just let him
You just
rock.
gotta- let's talk about music. Don't worry about it.
I would just be like, Kanye, whatever's on your mind, man, let's go. And he would just be like, Walt Disney, and you know. Yeah, I don't think there's any question.
So I want to talk about this one right here. Gross
Yeah.
doing tons of views, because I think that kind of sums up a lot of the decisions we've made about where we draw our lines. Like we draw our lines before the other guests or the hosts are less safe because of this person's views, I think. You know, so like we would never have Howard Stern on because he's a weird sex creep, and that makes it less safe to like be on this team, right? And I think that like one of our strengths is that we're aware of those boundaries without being like, you know, fully like aggro about them or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props, but to sort of peek behind the curtain, like I know I would feel less safe.
But also, like, that could be anybody with a weird fan base. Like Elon Musk, would he fall under that rule if we were like doing an interview with Ellen?
Would we have Elon Musk on the show though?
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean,
I feel like no.
He doesn't strike me as the type that would be weird and creepy, like towards any of us. Because
no, he's just got fans that are weird, and who knows what they do. But that could be anybody with enough profile.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
heads with them for part of an interview.
Unless it was like maybe like Dan Harmon or something, because those fans are like really annoying.
Wait, we wouldn't have. Would you red flag Dan Harmon? Because I feel like we have to have Dan Harmon on.
No, like I would, because I actually think he's an interesting person that I would talk to, but I would definitely gird my loins for his fans.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have to, I guess, for everybody, it's you have to, you know, be able to at least answer to yourself. Like, the internet might not like every guest that we have. I don't think we've had any borderline cancel. Like, we haven't had any guests like that we have to like defend having them on. But I think
people that we had on that were problematic. They got canceled after the
yeah,
fact.
but
solidarity with the people who were like, "Hey, there's a problem here."
Yeah.
You know, as soon as somebody tells us that, then
our problematic people were so across the line that it wasn't like a line to ride with their issues.
Yeah.
Where if it's somebody that like we agree with them on 80% of the things, and they have 20% that's like not good enough, or it's fishy, and then we have to ultimately answer to ourselves, and that's an interesting discussion, I guess.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm gonna drop out.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we'll probably be wrapping this up soon, but it's been fun to just reminisce about. Ren is very problematic.
It's true.
True.
Oh god.
Y'all do not want to hear what Ren has to say about trans people.
Ren has very problematic views that y'all don't know about.
It's true.
Ren thinks red vines are better than Twizzlers.
Absolutely not. We are a Twizzlers family.
Rachel, what's your view on red vines versus Twizzlers?
I don't care.
You've got to go. This is a real debate. There's no room for neutrality. Rachel, we'll see you tomorrow. And we're going to be gone in like 5 minutes anyway. Okay. Listen, it's Twizzler territory here.
This is a Twizzlers family.
This is the Twizzlers family. Anyway, Stan Twizzlers.
Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, episode 100 will be coming out later today. It is like we said, it is like almost 5 hours long. Tons of guests, just wild, crazy shit. Go check it out. We will be streaming at our regular time for the rest of this week, and then we will be taking a little break, as we mentioned, from the regular content, just to relax, cool our jets, plan some more content, and then we will be back in 2 weeks. But if you love the daily streams, just know that this is the last week, so tune in before we take our little break.
We're going to mobilize, organize, strategize. 2 weeks.
Stream it.
Oh, you're going way back. I love that we're getting into the fucking vlog.
We used to say that all the time when we started the show, behind the scenes. That was just like a dumb motto.
Yep.
That we sort of, it was like a live, laugh, love kind of.
So instead of us signing off, we're gonna leave, and we're gonna leave you with this gift for like 30 seconds, so that you can see more twerking, because it's a celebratory mood, and every day is a celebration with Kennedy and Leia and Ren and all of us here together. It's just probably one of the coolest things I've ever been part of, and if you are a listener, you're a part of it too. So
That's right.
thanks a lot. Patreon.com, by the way. Get in there. You want to see Bananity again? I know you do. All right. So thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. And now, twerking cartoons. See you later. Oh.